Hey guys, welcome back for part 2 of the 2021 pickups. This is George with Diamondyard Sports Cards. Thanks for watching. I'm going to go through almost every pickup that I had in the second half of the year, which actually was half the amount of pickups that I had in the first half of the year. But there's some big cards here, and also talk a little bit about kind of what the strategy here of what I was trying to do this year, and what I did when PSA shut down. And so it should be fun. And then I also want to thank all the people I was in person contact with this year, in the YouTube community. Jake Ticket Leprechaun, Legends Never Die, and his wife Amy came out here to Phoenix, and he contacted me, and we went to lunch downtown. They were going to the Chase Field, doing a ballpark tour, and then going to the Grand Canyon. And it was awesome to see you, Jake. And, hopefully we can continue to connect in the future. And congratulations on your new edition. At the Long Beach show, that opened up in September, and that really spurred me to try to pick up some bigger cards. I kind of just relaxed a little bit in the summertime. It's hot. You're just kind of hanging out. I mean, it's hot here in Phoenix in the summer for sure. But anyway, so hooked up with G's Mikey at the Long Beach show and LA Collection Levon. Other people there. Hope to see you guys out there. We're going to be out there in February, so coming up soon. So please feel free to reach out, and maybe we can hook up and hang out, have a beer or something like that. And my boy Grimy Mid Sports Cards, Eric, who is with me on all my submissions, and we are together and going to Long Beach, and we started to do some shows. Around the middle of the year, and so that contact kind of changed my outlook on kind of what I was looking to collect. We were doing shows, selling some stuff here and there, then going to Long Beach, and then continuing to go to shows throughout. We have a monthly show here in Phoenix. Anyway, guys, enough talking. Here we go. Let's look at some cards. Second half of 2021. Trying to make sure the camera, there's the group for now. So what happened when PSA shut down? Well, PSA stopped grading cards and shut down in the end of March. And so, I know all of us in the community collect cards for different reasons, because we love them, number one. I collect them, and I just buy them raw all the time because I'm trying to get, I want to send stuff into PSA, Rookie Larry. I mean, this is just an example of some cards that just sitting around that I've really looked to collect over the last time I've been shut down. And so, we got all these cards, and you want to submit these, and I want to get this Rookie Larry encapsulated, for example, or those Maze cards or whatever. And this wave of cardboard that's going to happen when they do reopen for bulk service. So I was thinking to myself, what am I going to do now that I can't really submit cards? I could sub to SGC. I'm not real familiar with that, so I didn't do that initially. And I thought, you know what? I've got a lot of wax that I've collected over the years, and I'm going to submit some stuff to Baseball Card Exchange. So I submitted 11 boxes of cards to Baseball Card Exchange as part of my year. Here's an example of one box. This is an 80 Topps football box. It's my oldest football box, and they wrapped it, they authenticated it, and it was super reasonable. And so I did one video earlier this year, but I'm going to do at least one more video about the different boxes I wrapped with Baseball Card Exchange. They were 80s football, basketball, and predominantly baseball. So anyway, that was a cool thing that I used, just would not probably have done but for PSA shutting down. And so now I have these boxes that are wrapped and, authenticated. I can sell them, or they're just, sealed. And, I know they're legit, but, you never know with unopened wax. So anyway, that was a really cool thing, and I definitely recommend anybody sending their stuff off to Baseball Card Exchange. So this is pretty funny. The pickups this year in the second half of the year, you could see how sellers sometimes, there was seller's remorse. They had picked up a card and maybe bought it in March or whatever. And here's a perfect example. I picked up this beautiful 77 Thurman Munson. Love the 77 set. I'd like to get it in 9, but it was an 8, and I got a good deal on it. It was like $55. And so this is an example of how the second half of the year was going for some people. Literally within about a minute after I picked up this card, I got an email from the seller. I was like, what's going on here? And I got it for a good deal. Like I said, $55, happy to pay that for this 8. And he says to me, quote, wow, I paid $136 for this on a buy it now in March. What a joke. I should have put a reserve on it. Well, that is kind of the way it was going in the second half of the year. I was surprised he sent it out to me. I didn't respond to that email. This guy had, probably 215 feedbacks, not a very seasoned seller. And I've been on eBay since 2004, and I've never gotten an email like that. So anyway, that's an example. Wow, I should have put a reserve on it. What a joke. So anyway, I'll speed it up here. Picked up this Stan Musial at my local card shop. I stopped in on a Friday, and they had a stack of these sitting there, and this was covered up. They had a sign that said $30, exhibits, Yogi Berra, Red Shandines, Phil Rizzuto, Stan Musial, $30 a piece. So I was thinking, oh, it's going to be like a PSA 1. Nope, PSA 5, Stan the man. Next card, went into 70s cards in July. Here's a nice Reggie in the 9. Always love this card, just classic Reggie with the sunglasses. 80 Pete Rose. Lots of 80s and 70s cards you're going to see here. That's kind of where I decided to go in the summer. Not super expensive cards, but nice cards. And just, the cards from my childhood. Love this 82 second year Fernando. I actually bought this from 4 Sharp Corners. I couldn't find it online for anything, eBay for a reasonable price. So I just went on 4 Sharp, no tax, out the door. Second year Fernando. I mean, look at this year, The strike, still 13-7, 2.48 ERA. Cy Young Rookie of the Year. It's 82 Seaver. Real happy with that. Again, 82 Donruss, very tough. You saw in my last video, I had a Johnny Bench that I had picked up. Love 82 Donruss. Any 80s cards, love them. Maybe not 88 or 89 tops. This Nolan Ryan went off. Not a bad deal. I've been looking to upgrade. I have an 8, and the 9s were getting out of control, and I passed on an 8.5 years, like 2 years ago, and I got this one for like 125, 130. I was happy to do that. I mean, the 76s are so tough. You have all the print marks, and then there's usually like snow behind his head and things like that. So real happy to add this to the Ryan collection. This was a Probe Steiner. You think they'd be a lot of money. It's a Slurpee coin. Gotta get my Slurpee coins. This was $11 for Mr. October. So I said, well, let's do that. Let's get this Reggie. Look at that shine. Not 90s shine. 80s Slurpee shine. Mike Schmidt. Was big on Mike Schmidt this year. 76, second year. I was hoping to get a higher grade, but these cards are going up, and I just found this one to be so nice. The colors were great. The centering was good. There's some typical 76 print dots right there, but real happy to add this Schmitty. Also going along the 70s, 8.5s, big on 8.5s. Just saw this one online. It was a buy it now. It wasn't super expensive, maybe $50, $60, $50. Steve Carlton, 8.5. One of the greatest pitchers of all time. One of the greatest lefties of all time. And look at that stash. He's got the stash going. Love that card. Was looking at Koufax stuff early in the year. Held off mid-year. As the year wound down or was getting later, I found this one at a reasonable price, and it was really nice, real nice copy of this 56 second year Koufax. After I added the rookie, I wanted to add the second year. Things had gotten out of hand where 7 or something like that was going to be too much, but real happy to add the 56 and a 4.5. 80s stuff, reasonable, super reasonable. Here are 3 80s cards, 85, and anybody who, again, open packs in 85, we talked about this, Silver Jackify Mike and I on our 80s broadcast of how the card stock on 85 Donruss is just so, it's almost paper thin. And they scratch super easy. So I got some 10s of these 85 Donruss cards. There's a Rose, picked up a Schmidt, and I said this before, with his classic. Look at that 80s hair. I mean, does it get any better than that? Then you got Cal Ripken, the great Cal Ripken. So was happy to add these. Again, didn't break the bank. CSG. A lot of people send their stuff to CSG. A lot of people really happy with CSG. I don't know. I'm not on board. I'm not trying to discourage that. I mean, the slab is great. This guy had a lot of Maze cards in CSG, and I saw this 62, and I said, man, it's a 62. I don't have a 62. I'm just looking for a low to mid-grade one. So I got it. It looks super nice on the pictures. I got it, and I just really started to examine it. You know, what to get a PSA for? Well, you can see, let me see, right there, there's a crease, and that crease goes through to the back. There's there's a lot of print marks here on his name. I don't know if you can see that. You can see it there. Anyway, I looked at this card and I thought, you know, I don't think this would do better than a PSA 3, honestly. The corners are definitely, you know, if it didn't have the wrinkle there, I could see a 4, or maybe not so much a wrinkle, but a crease. But anyway, I mean, I'm not discouraging CSG, but I personally will not be buying any more CSG slabs unless it's a card that I absolutely can't find in any other, in a PSA or an SGC holder. I was happy to add this. Again, this was not expensive. This was like $99 maybe for Willie Mays. And it's a beautiful card. It's a beautiful card. So maybe I'll snap this, sub it to PSA. If it gets a PSA 4, then, you know, I'll be eating my words. But anyway, happy to add that Willie Mays, though, and, you know, took a little chance on CSG. Heading to the second half of the pickups, more Thurman Munson. This is a 76 Topps Thurman Munson. As James from Elite Hunters says, he's got a great looking sweater there. You know, so 8.5 All-Star banner or All-Star insignia. Love this card from his MVP year. And, you know, by the way, I was going to say, I do have one more card this year that I'm not going to show. I'm going to do a separate video on it because it deserves that. Larry Doby. Picked up this beautiful 59 Larry Doby in an 8. Not expensive. PSA 8. So tough. You know, 59 cards in anything like a 7 or higher, they're difficult. The same guy who had these, he had Minosos. He had a 59 Minoso, and these were all, he had a couple Minosos from the 50s and 8s. He had, I think he had an 8 and a 60 Minoso, and those went for a lot of money because everybody expected him to get into the Hall. Congratulations, Minnie. Joe Montana, 8.5. This is not a super rare card at all, but I just figured it was an 8.5 of Joe Cool. So I added it. And as the year went on, this was at a show. Just noticed these cards are always, I had a Maravich the same way, cut like that. Tough centering, but I picked up this Dr. J. I just love Julius Erving. As you guys know, this is a great one because you got the Iceman right there, George Gervin waiting, and Doc is, you know, up high, up top. But anyway, it was just a PSA 5, but at the end of a show, a guy next to me, a dealer, hadn't sold it. We're talking. It's like, what do you want for it? And I think he gave it to me for $40. So I'll take a Dr. J from 74 for $40. This was a great addition to my mind. This is right before we went to the Long Beach show in September, and I'm just going to throw that Ted Williams. But I upgraded this baseball grades from Fleer. Got an 8.5. It's hard to find 8.5s at the set. I personally love this set. It's Ted Williams' last playing days card. And you've got, you know, all the other great Hall of Famers in it. But I just think the set is so cool. And it was a reasonable deal, an 8.5. I had an 8, wanted to upgrade for the Ted Williams set. So I had saved my money to some degree. I mean, I bought all these nice cards, but they aren't big cards. So I went to the Long Beach show with my boy Grimy Mint Sports Cards, and we scoured the show first day and started to determine what we were going to do. I ended up selling a lot of Walker Buehler short print stuff, gold refractors, chrome refractors, things like that. And I was able to trade them and able to pick up this super sweet Michael Jordan 87 Fleer. Anybody who knows basketball from that era knows 87 Fleer was produced far less than 86 Fleer. 87 and 88 also produced not very little. There's a lot of it out there, but just it's harder to find. Anyway, real happy with this Jordan in a PSA 9. What can I say? I was just excited to add it. And didn't have to basically spend any money on this, honestly. I just traded cards. So we'll put him right here. This was a pretty big pickup for me on the year. Then, the biggest pickup of the year was the Long Beach show. My boy Eric, Grimy Mint Sports Cards, encouraged me to pick this card up. I traded more cards, got cash, made a trade with LA Collection, sold him some cards. And then I was able to pick up this 34 Worldwide Gum Lou Gehrig. And this card was just fantastic. Worldwide Gum is super rare. Now this is 30, there's like 36 of these graded by PSA total. And I just thought this was such a nice looking 3. and I couldn't pass it up. It was expensive, but again, I didn't have to pay much out of pocket, if any, because I always take cards with me to trade. Cards that I have doubles of, stuff like that. But anyway, just a real nice copy. Just looking at the pop report is really what got me to say, hey, you know, the Gaudis are about twice as much, honestly. And so I was able to add this because I have the other one in a Gaudi and a 3 of the blue. I believe it's number 61 of Gehrig. So that was my biggest pickup of the year, and I was super excited to add the Sweet Lou. All-Star Game. This was cool. I watched a Laughlin. This Laughlin said, I watched a Clemente and a 10 go for a ton of money. So I started looking and found out there was a Jackie Robinson in the set, and there was no 10s. But this guy had this 9 listed for something like, you know, 60, 70 bucks. So I decided to pick it up. Really cool, from 1949 All-Star Game, first All-Star Game with African-American players in it, and Jackie scored 3 times in that game, despite the fact that the National League lost. Just thought this was really cool, though. These Laughlin cards are really wide, if you buy any of them. Got this Sweetness, again, looking for the half grades. Really like this Walter Payton, 85 tops. Super good deal, like 50 bucks. So added this 8.5. Then, shout out to the Pirate fans, the Cobra. I gotta get that off there. Anyway, there's the PSA 8 Dave Parker. Real happy to add that one. Love the Parker cards from the 70s and the early 80s. So I picked up this Clemente. Now, this was part of my end of the year motivation. This card's gone down a little bit, and so I was able to get this one for a reasonable price. It's a 4.5. I started looking at my Clemente collection, and I saw, hey, you know, I don't have the rookie. And, you know, I thought to myself, I already had this card in a higher grade. I just thought this one was so nice that I decided to pick it up. Well, I thought to myself, well, why don't I just get a rookie? And during the pandemic, when it first happened in March, I was working on this guy who had like 5 Clemente rookies for sale, and we just were like a little bit apart on the price, like 50 to 100 bucks. And I just didn't want to do it, and being stubborn. And so I said to myself, after I bought this card this year, I said, listen, I am fed up. If the right Clemente comes along, regardless of grade, I'm going to pick it up. And the thing about that 55 Clemente is the centering is really difficult. It's hard to get a lower grade one that looks nice. You can buy a 6 all day if you want, but a 6 is going to cost you probably what that card will cost you or so. And I didn't have the resources to do that. So I just thought about that. I thought about it. The Clemente here, I just kept thinking, I got to look for a rookie. In the meantime, I bought this George Brett from Probsteiner, and actually that very night, I bought this Brett in the daytime. I got a pretty good deal on it. And that night when I was looking, I'm like, maybe I can combine some shipping. So I went on the site and looked at the auctions that were ending soon, and there was an auction ending soon for this. And it was a PSA 2 Roberto Clemente. Now, rookie. This is the nicest PSA 2 that I have ever seen of this card. Not that I looked at these cards over the years. I've been wanting to buy one of these for years. But the centering, the color, the registration on this, I mean, it was just a beauty. And so I could not pass it up. Packaged it with the Brett from Probstein and was able to pick this up. So this was one of my biggest pickups of the year. So after that, I decided to, I don't really want to move that one. I decided I was going to start looking at Clementes. And last pickup that I'm going to show in this video is a pickup of another Clemente rookie. Now, I just thought I have to check this out. This one was up, and it was a 2.5. And it was, again, a super nice copy. Now, this corners are a little bit rougher on this. It's a little bit lower, but there's no creasing or wrinkling or anything like that on this card. So I decided to add this one as well because at this point, it's the end of the year, and frankly, I'm always looking at the end of the year to make a big move on cards because I know in March, come March, typically things go up and there are new bars that are set for cards. But anyway, guys, I really appreciate you watching. Thank you so much for your support of the channel. I hope you have a wonderful new year and keep collecting.